Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Bespoke Growth Series. Today, we're going to talk about something that truly shapes the success of a stylist career: consultations and understanding guest psychology. When people first enter this industry, they usually believe the success comes from technical ability alone, how to cut well, color well, or perform services with precision. And while those things do absolutely matter, what many stylists eventually discover is that the real skill behind the chair is communication. A great consultation is not just about asking a few questions before starting a service. It's about understanding what your guest is really trying to achieve, and sometimes what they're struggling to articulate. Guests don't always know the language of hair. They may bring in photos that represent a feeling more than an exact result. They may describe something in a way that doesn't quite match what their hair can realistically do. And part of your role as a professional is to guide that conversation. A strong consult builds trust. When a guest feels heard, understood, and guided by someone confident, they relax. They stop worrying about the outcome because they trust the process. And that trust is what builds long term relationships. Consultations also protect the stylists. They give you the opportunity to clarify expectations before you begin a service. They allow you to explain what is possible and what may take multiple visits, and what the maintenance will look like moving forward. That transparency prevents disappointment and helps guests feel informed instead of surprised. Another important part of consultation is listening. Sometimes the most important information a guest shares is not in the words they say, but in how they say them. Maybe they're nervous because they've had a bad experience before. Maybe they're unsure because they've been told conflicting advice. Maybe they're excited about a change, but also a little scared. Understanding those emotions helps you guide the service in a way that makes them feel supported. And over time, consultation becomes one of the strongest tools that you have for building a loyal clientele. Because when guests feel that somebody truly understands their hair, their lifestyle, and their goals, they stop searching for another stylist. They've found their person. Another thing to remember is that consultation is not just something that happens at the beginning of the appointment. It's something that happens throughout the entire visit. Checking in during the service, explaining what you're doing and why, sharing recommendations for maintenance, styling, and future services. These small conversations build and reinforce your professionalism. The more comfortable you become guiding those conversations, the more natural it will feel to recommend services, retail products, or future appointments that support the guest's goal. And that's where consultations, service recommendations, and rebooking all begin to connect. They're not separate skills. They're all part of the same conversation. As you continue growing in the industry, you'll find that consultation is something you refine continuously. You'll learn new ways to ask questions, new ways to read situations, new ways to help guests feel confident in your guidance. And that's part of the craft as well. Not just understanding hair, but understanding people. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Bespoke Growth Series. And remember, some of the most powerful moments behind the chair don't happen when you're cutting or coloring, they happen when you're simply having a conversation.